Peace and blessings. I am Regina and welcome to my happy place, Diva G's Reborns. The previous video, I said that I was going to pause it, dry with the heat gun and come back. However, instead of me hitting the pause button, I hit the stop button. So that ended the video. So here we are right now, and I will be doing a little bit more of the blushing on the hands, you know, on the palms and the fingers, as well as on the soles of the feet. So I'm using my red wash because I like the way that gives what I feel a natural looking color to my melanated babies. At least the way that I like to see them. And so I have my red wash that I mixed myself. I do talk about that in previous videos, how I mix it. You know, it's the primarily I use Ultimate Fusion air dry paints, and I use distilled water because with air dry paints, distilled water is what is recommended. So I use a distilled water along with the golden wetting aid. Okay, and that just kind of slows down some of the drying so that you can work with the paint so that it's not just drying immediately while you're trying to work. It somewhat makes the paint to function not exactly like, but somewhat similar to heat set paint, wherein which you have time to kind of work with, you know, what you're doing. Now, of course, with heat set, you're drying in an oven, whereas with air dry, you know, it dries by air, and I do also use a heat gun. And that's totally optional, but that's something that I like to do because it affords me the ability to paint, you know, in a sense, multiple layers in a shorter succession of time, as opposed to if I did it the normal way. You can only paint up to about 8 layers in a day, and then you have to let it, you know, dry for like about 24 hours. So rather than do that, I just go ahead with my heat gun, and that for me works out extremely well. It affords me the opportunity to, like I said, to paint multiple layers in a day, or in a sitting, I should say. And yeah, so I like doing it that way. And yeah. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do that. I'm just saying that's what I do. Okay, looks nice and real, right? More and more realism. Little different touches add to the realism of your doll, and you have to figure out what it is that you like to see on your doll. You know, what detailings like you feel that you want to see on your doll that gives the look that you want, because there are no two artists that paint the same. Even the same artist can paint 2 kits and they will not come out, you know, the same. They will look different. Okay, so yeah. So each artist has their own way of doing things and a look that they like to see on their kits or on their dolls. So, as I have mentioned before, you can take a look in my description to see the sites where you can look and obtain your own Diva G Reborn dolls. I am on eBay as well as reborns.com. You can also reach out to me here directly in the comments if you see that I am reborning or rooting a doll and you're interested. You can in fact reach out to me. I have had others to do the same, and they now have in their collection Diva G Reborn dolls. You can also reach out to me on my Facebook Messenger, and we can then also discuss on that in that area also. Dolls that you see me creating or reborning, or if you have a custom that you would like me to reborn for you. I primarily paint melanated babies. Even my Alyssa, who is a Realborn of 18 inches. She is albino. However, she is a black doll, or you would say from you would consider ethnic or melanated, but with the albino, there's less melanin in this, visible on the skin. So yeah, so I did her, and I've done many other dolls. So yeah, I've done an Asian baby, which was a lot of fun. That was Oakland. I did her, and her kit is not necessarily an Asian baby. Okay. However, I chose to paint her as an Asian baby because, that's what I wanted to do. And I gave her a skin tone that I feel reflects an Asian, an Asian baby. And she came out quite nice. I gave her bone straight hair. So, yeah. So she looks very nice. You can see her playlist. The dolls that I reborn, majority of them have a playlist that you can check and see their progress, step by step, because many of the dolls I do step by step with them. I would like to encourage you to please like, comment, subscribe, and share. That does encourage me to continue to make content that is visible for you, because this is my open diary that I am sharing here on YouTube, but I'm making it public. I could also, have it as my diary and just keep it private where only I would see it, or those that I give the link. However, I'm sharing it in this way, in hopes that it might help others. But it would be very nice that those who are watching would like, comment, subscribe, and share, because I do have views and I'm grateful for the views, but it's not reflected in the comments. So it would be nice to see it as well in the comments. you know, because those are things that also help to push Diva G's Reborns in the algorithm, you know. But if it's not, you know, being like, commented, if the videos are not receiving likes and there's not comments and there's no sharing, then I don't know if it's even worth me making my videos, you know, public, you know. I want to do a giveaway or a contest May of 2026. You know, I just need to have the comments and different things improve so that I would know that it would even be, you know, worth it to do a contest. Because it's work for the those who enter the contest, and then it's work for me also to, you know, conduct the contest. Looks nice and real, right? I use the ultramarine blue, and I think I kind of leaned a bit heavy on it, so the veins are a little bit darker than I would like, but it still does look good. Normally I use my light cerulean blue. However, at the time when I was, you know, doing the veining and what have you on June, I had misplaced and still cannot find my light cerulean blue. So what I did was I ordered some, you know, more Prismacolor pencils from Jerry's Autorama, and they did come. Cerulean blue is a lighter color than the aquamarine, and in melanated babies, at least my melanated babies, I like the realism that the cerulean blue adds, you know, leaves for the kit. The aquamarine blue is a beautiful color. I think that it works nicely, but I do think that the cerulean blue at this stage in my reborning journey works out really well. You know, because like I said, I think I may have, I could have been a little bit lighter with my touch with the aquamarine, but it still looks nice. Still does look nice. So I'm not complaining. I'm just stating what I feel is the difference that I notice with the color and my, you know, in a sense, heavy-handedness. So yeah, but it is a very pretty color. So I did order from the Jerry's Autorama a number of light cerulean blue, and I also ordered cerulean blue. I did a mini haul, showing those items along with some other Prismacolor pencils I purchased from Jerry's Autorama. So again, If you see something that you like on the channel, reach out to me and let me know. If you would like to have it in your own personal collection, I do offer short-term layaway. And I do have listed in the community area some parameters for the layaway. You know, the layaway is available for up to 2 months, and you have to leave a deposit, which is non-refundable, and the doll needs to be paid for completely within 2 months from the date that you left your initial deposit, and you can pay, you know, in installments within that 2-month period, and those payments also are non-refundable. Now, if you want to purchase a doll outright, you can do that, because there have been other followers or viewers that have in fact done that. They've seen me painting or aware of me painting, and they've purchased dolls outright from me. So that's an option also. And you can, like I said, you can look for me in my description here on the channel, where it gives you the link for my reborns.com as well as my eBay. And you can also reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, Diva G Reborns. It's the same name as here. So I'm going to pause the video, dry, and come back. Okay, and we are back. I purchased June of 3 years from Bountiful Baby. She is a replica of a real live, a real baby. When they say replica, they're not talking about a stolen kit. They're talking about a replica from a real child. And often the children are from Nevin and Denise Pratt, who are the owners of Bountiful Baby. They're from their family members, or it may be sometimes employees that they have. So yeah, and so that is where she came from, this particular kit. Now the thing is with her kit, which is interesting, she did not come with armatures. And in order to have a doll of her size to be able to hold their weight in a sense, to be able to sit up straight, to stand or things of that nature, they need armatures. And her kit did not come with an armature, and Bountiful Baby does not offer armatures. Now, I can get armatures from other vendors, and I do plan to do that, so that I can, when I'm ready to put her together, that I can put her together in a way in which I feel is, will give her that realism that I seek. Now Charlie, who is also a Bountiful Baby Realborn, he came with armatures. He's an 18-month kit, and I reborn Charlie into a doll named Charlene. I made it into a girl because when I was reborning, interestingly enough, it was like the kit was telling me it wanted to be a girl. So I reborn the doll as a girl. And she came out very beautiful. I showed her on my channel. I have not done a photo shoot with her yet. I need to really actually take time to do that photo shoot. I did do some rooting of the hair, online with her. Some, not all, but some. And yeah, so now I'm just adding definition to the palms and the soles of the feet by adding a bit of the blue wash onto strategic areas that I feel would benefit from a bit of this blue color, you know, to give some of that. Because what it does is it kind of gives the appearance of, you know, maybe thin skin or just a shift in the color on the kit, where, you know, and that too adds to the look of realism. Because one of the things that factory dolls have are they just have a flat color. They oftentimes really do not have, you know, like a gradient of color. They just are like one flat color, and then maybe you know, there may be other parts that may have some other colors that may or may not look, you know, realistic. So, but then factory dolls, you know, maybe someone who purchased a factory doll, maybe they're not looking for, you know, true realism. Maybe they just like, you know, the way the doll looks as a factory doll, and that's fine too. People are very much individual in what they seek. You know, sometimes people want a number of different types of dolls in their collection. They're not necessarily always looking for complete realism. Sometimes they just want a particular look in their collection. So yeah, I'm going to pause again, dry, and come back. Okay, and I'm back to do just a little bit more of the blue coloring. It's not going to look blue on the doll. It's just going to give a little bit of a, you know, just a little bit of something color. You know, again, like I said, so that the color on the palms is not just one stark flat color. You see, you're looking and it doesn't look like, you don't see blue. It doesn't look blue. It just looks real. You know, and that's the look that I am striving. I would like to ask you to please like, comment, subscribe, and to share. I want to see the viewership increase. I do want to do a contest or a giveaway, you know, in May, which is, you know, right around the corner, because we're at the end of April now. So I would like to be able to do that. You know, however, I don't know if, you know, there's going to be participation. You know, so yeah. But we can, you know, we can see what occurs, because otherwise, you know, I can forfeit doing a contest and send happy mail to those who actively support the channel. I can do that too. Got a little speck here. I want to get that out. Yeah. I so enjoy reborning. So I do believe it's something that I will always do. Whether I continue doing it on camera or not, well, you know, that remains to be seen. You'll see. But whether I share it publicly or not, I will have my own private, I will have a diary of my work, for myself and for anyone that I share the link with. I don't know if I mentioned it in this, recently or not. I'm not sure. But I know I was saying that I was having some back pain, some back discomfort. Well, finally, it's no longer there. So I'm grateful about that I do no longer have that back. I think I lifted something, in a sense incorrectly, which can happen. Sometimes you're not using proper body mechanics, and then you can lift something incorrectly, and it can happen to any of us. Yeah, it can happen to any of us. I think that's a good looking foot. And I'm going to pause, dry, and come back. When I say that I'm drying, I'm using my heat gun. And what I do is I pass it over the wet area for 15 to 30 seconds. And then that, dries it so that I can put on another layer of paint if I desire. Now what I am going to do is there's some areas that I want to do a little bit more of the red wash. So I'm going to do that. And yeah, so this is some of what I call my detailed work. I take my time and I go into certain areas, that maybe I didn't go over before. And then I go on ahead and I pounce, because the pouncing removes, it helps to blend, and it removes any harsh brush strokes that might be present. So I'm rotating the arm around so that I can see what it is that I'm doing. And the color that I put on is, to the opacity that I like, because I'm using a red wash, which allows me to have thin layers, what I call nice thin layers, and I can build them up as I desire, where I desire. Now, one of the differences with melanated dolls and Caucasian dolls, from what I see, is there's a little bit of a difference in the shifts in color or lack thereof. And so and again, everything is, you know, if you're painting or thinking about painting, you know, it's your art, what you want to do, how you want to see it, you know, and that's what you know, that's what you do. You paint according to the way you want to paint. There is no right or wrong, you know, it's just what you like. Some people paint solely for themselves, meaning that their dolls remain in their own personal collection always. They don't leave their collection. Some people paint both for their collection as well as, you know, for others to have the opportunity to enjoy, you know. I started as a collector some years ago, and I wanted to actually reborn, but I didn't have the opportunity because, you know, things started kind of getting really different, busy with my parents and stuff, and they, of course, were my priority. And now I have some time that I can think a little bit more about myself because my parents both transitioned 3.5 months apart. So I unfortunately have the time to paint because I no longer have them with me. And the relationship that I had with my parents was very unique. So I miss them a lot. And yeah, we were very much family. Very much. You know, taking care of them, you know, until they drew their last breath is something that, you know, may be different than what maybe, you know, maybe the vast majority have experienced. I don't know. You know. I know I knew of someone who said, oh yeah, I know what it's like, you know, and she was saying that her parents passed, I think she said 6 months apart. And, you know, but the difference was with her was her parents lived in, you know, a number of states away, you know, so she wasn't with, you know, the day to day of actually caring for them, you know, so not to say that that makes it any less of a loss, but it does make it different, you know. So, yeah, it does make it very much different, you know, but a loss is definitely a loss, and it impacts all of us very individually. I think it's coming out a little bit redder on camera than what it really is because the paint is very much translucent, the color, you know, because it's a wash. And washes are watery thin. Like if you can see it coming down on the side, you can barely see it rolling down the sides. Some of it you just have to, you know, well, I can't say you, but I paint according to what I think is going to add the look that I want. Sometimes you may want to paint and just have, you know, just have it be pretty. Sometimes you might want to paint and have it look realistic. Sometimes you might paint and you might want both in varying degrees. And that's fine too. You know, that's fine too. So, again, I would like to encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And yeah, leave some comments so that we can have additional engagement, so that we can be pushed into the algorithm a bit more. And then about doing a contest or a giveaway on the channel. You know, otherwise, if a contest doesn't seem like it's going to be practical, I can do give some happy mail to those who actually really support the channel on a regular basis. I think that's a good looking foot. Look how nice and real that looks. Doesn't that look nice? Yeah, I think it looks very nice. So off camera, I'm going to do some more drying. I would like to again encourage you to please do like, comment, subscribe, and share. Sharing is caring. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Peace and blessings.